Hi, I'm Margaret Lewin, and today is Tuesday, so we all know what that means. It's Quick Tip Tuesday. Today's quick tip has to do with making bias binding. I've got an 18-inch square, so what you want to start with is a square of any size, okay, however much binding you need. Now, one of the things that happens with an 18-inch square, as you can see, my ruler is not long enough. It doesn't go from one end of my material to the other. And I need to take this 18-inch square and I need to cut a diagonal piece. Well, I've got a little bit of a problem there, don't I? Because my ruler doesn't fit. I have on my cutting table an OLFA, O-L-F-A cutting mat, and my cutting mat is 24 by 36. Perfect size as far as I'm concerned. I love my mat. So what I'm going to do is, if you look on your mat, you do have some diagonal lines. And this one right here is actually my 45. It starts up at the corner and comes right down to the 24-inch mark. So I'm going to take my 18-inch square and I'm just going to line it right up at the top here. And I know it's almost out of camera view for you. I'm going to slide my mat down just a little bit so that you can see it better. So I've got my point, my upper left-hand point right here on the 24. And I'm just going to take this and rotate this till I get my lower right there on this line. All right, so now I know I'm laying on my cutting mat nice and square. So the next thing I'm going to do is take my ruler. Now this ruler is my 6.5 by 24.5 inch Creative Grids ruler. I'm going to line my upper left corner of my ruler up there. Then I've got a second ruler, and this is my 6.5 by 18.5 inch ruler. And I'm going to line my second ruler up right here. Now you can see I'm no longer on my line, so I know I'm not on the bias. So I'm just going to very gently shift the bottom until these two rulers matching right up here, matching up perfectly because they're the same width, that this ruler continues right on my 45-degree line. All right, so I'm holding that down. Now I'm going to go back up to my top and check and make sure that I'm still nice and square. I need to make a little bit more of an adjustment. So now that I know I am nice and perfectly square, I'm going to take my rotary cutter. I'm very carefully holding these rulers down, and I'm going to start a cut. I'm going to stop, and I'm going to pick my rotary blade up. I'm going to gently remove the second ruler out from underneath my hand. Then I'm going to put my right hand down, hold it, and now I'm going to go right up my ruler, and I have not moved the ruler. I'll pick my rotary blade back up, and I will cut all the way up to the next corner. So now I have a perfect triangle or a perfect cut on an 18-inch square. So now that I've done that, I'm just going to shift this down just a little bit so it makes it a little bit easier for all of us to see. And I'm going to pick this piece up. This is my second piece, the piece that I cut off. And I'm just going to rotate it right over one on top of the other. Now I'm going to take this over to my sewing machine and I'm going to sew a nice 1/4 inch seam. I'll be back as soon as I've got that done. What I have here are my two pieces sewn together. Here's my seam. I'm going to open it up, and what I do is line it up on one of the lines on my mat. So now I'm going to take the longest ruler I have, which is my 8.5 by 24.5, and I'm going to cut my binding. Now, whenever I do binding on a quilt that's not bias binding and I'm binding like the bags that I make my binding 2.25 inches wide, all right? So I'm going to only cut 2 strips at a time. I'm not gonna try to cut a whole lot all at once. So I'm gonna go to the 4.5. So I'm at 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.5. And then I'm gonna go all the way down the ruler and make sure that I'm good and lined up at 4.5. Am I 4.5? All the way, yep. Now you can see I need to just scooch it down just a little bit here on this side because I don't have ruler. So I'm gonna take it down as far as I can and still maintain a cut line here, all right? So I'm still lined up, yep. So I'm gonna take my rotary blade, I'm gonna put it down against there, and I'm just gonna back it just a little bit so that I could catch that spot. And I'm going to cut all the way very carefully. Now I'm gonna bring my ruler down so that I'm at 2 1/4. And again, you can see I'm bringing it down and sliding it to the left at the same time so that I still have my edge to cut because I need this entire ruler for this size piece. In fact, this size piece, it works perfect. So I'm going to do 2 more cuts, or 1 more cut actually. All right, so now I have 2 pieces of bias binding. I'm going to take these and set these aside. They're right over here. Now I'm going to do 2 more. So I need to be at 4.5. So I'm lining up my 4.5 right here. See, I'm right at the corner, and then down here, and all the way across. So I'm good again. So I'm going to cut 1 more strip. I'm going to bring this down to 2 1/4. There's my 2 1/4 there, and there's my 2 1/4. Right, and cut in there. So now I have 2 more strips. Now I will be able to do just 1 more strip because you can see I've got 1, 2, 3.5, and that's not enough. So I'm just going to take it right down to 2 1/4. Whoops, right there and right there, and cut 1 more strip. Okay, so this one's garbage. So now I'm going to take my binding, there's my piece, and I'm going to add another piece to it. Now, when I go to add it, what I have to do is I'm going to start with 1 piece face up, then I'm going to put my next piece face down. Right? And what I need to make sure is that I've got enough fabric from this point to this, and I do right here. So now I'm just going to draw my diagonal line and stitch that down, and I've got bias binding. So that's my quick tip for Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining me, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. And don't forget, we're on Facebook with Margaret Lewin Quilting Group, and we're over on Instagram. Thank you so much.